This is Uncle Tech Support, and today we are taking a look at an MSI RTX 5070 Ventus dual fan model. So I think this is an MSRP model, and the size of it kind of surprised me. In my review of the XFX 9060 XT, I said that the card was quite small, but this one is even smaller, and it's likely all you'll ever need. It's slightly shy of 24 centimeters long, 12.6 centimeters tall, and 5 centimeters thick, making it a 2.5 slot card that would fit in most cases without issue. The faceplate is made of plastic, but the backplate is metal and features the standard cutout for airflow. The card has 4 display outputs, 3 DisplayPort 2.1 ports and 1 HDMI 2.1B port. The 5070 only has 12 GB of GDDR7 VRAM, which is less than even the cheaper 9060 XT 16 GB version, or the 5060 Ti, also 16 GB version. However, in my testing, this didn't seem to be a problem. It will of course depend on your settings and the game you're playing, but I think 12 gigs is going to be just fine for a while still, with a rare exception here and there. It would be another story entirely with GPU. I mean, you can get by with 8 gigs, but if you're buying a new card, getting one with only 8 gigs is a waste of money. I got this card during a Black Friday sale and paid 532 USD for it, which you might not think is a good price, but over here it's pretty decent. For comparison, a 9060 XT 16 GB version is on sale for 374 USD, and at that price is a decent deal. A 5060 Ti 16 GB version is on sale for 443 USD, which is not that great of a deal in my opinion. 9070 XT is on sale for 710 USD. The non-XT model, the 9070, is 690 USD and therefore irrelevant. A 5070 Ti is on sale for 839 USD. So you see, this is basically as much as I would like to spend on a GPU. I don't really feel like spending $700 on a GPU. I don't care how good it is. It just doesn't feel good, you know? I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird, but $500 is about as much as I'm gonna pay for one, or 550. So there's that. This puts the 5070 price into perspective. At 532 USD, it delivers good value for money, in my opinion anyway. This and the 9060 XT were the two best deals available, but of course I would prefer the 5070 because it's faster. The card features 2 very nice fans. MSI has always done a good job with their fans, and these are no exception. We saw fan speeds of around 1750 RPM or 1800 RPM, and at that speed they were actually quieter than the fans on the XFX card at the same RPM. It's about as noisy as the XFX card with its default BIOS and fans at 1500 RPM. So actually this is a very good job from MSI on the acoustics in my opinion. At 1800 RPM the temperature hovered around 72 degrees Celsius. It's not great, but it's not terrible. It's perfectly safe. Given the price point, I'm pretty happy with the result actually, so good job MSI. Clock speeds, they vary depending on the load of course, but we usually saw figures above 2.7 GHz in most scenarios, which is about 200 MHz higher than the advertised clock speed. Now let's move on to gaming performance. For test system, we used Windows 11 and Cache OS. Under Cache OS, we used the Cache OS Proton version, the one in November, I can't remember the exact date. For drivers, we used, under Cache OS, we used NVIDIA 580.105.08. Under Windows, we used 581.80. And for AMD, under Linux, we used the Mesa 25.2.7 driver, and under Windows, we used the 25.11.2 driver. CPU, that was the Intel Core i5-13600K. RAM, 32 GB of DDR5 memory, running in dual channel, of course, with speeds of 6400 mega transfers, CL32. Motherboard, MSI Z790 Tomahawk, doesn't really matter, doesn't make a difference. Comparison GPU, RTX 2070 Super, RX 6800, RX 9060 XT, RX 7800 XT. All testing was done at 3440 by 1440. Now we start off in Alan Wake 2 on Linux, and here the 5070 has a technical lead over the 7800 XT of 3%. It's also 31% faster than the 9060 XT. If you're on the 2070 Super, the 5070 will more than double your performance here, so a good result. Switching to Windows, the 5070 has now a larger 10% lead over the 7800 XT and is 37% faster than the 9060 XT. Again, if you're running a 2070 Super or a similar card like a 3060, the 5070 is a great upgrade that will more than double your performance. Now, turning on ray tracing changes everything. Sticking to Windows, the 5070 is now a massive 42% faster than the 7800 XT, 57% faster than the 9060 XT, and still delivers over double the performance of the 2070 Super. Impressive stuff. But if we return to Linux, we see performance drop. Under Windows 11, the 5070 was just shy of 60 frames per second. Under Linux, we're down to 45.7 frames per second. The other cards also take a sizable hit, but this still makes the 5070 45% faster than the 7800 XT, and a whopping 69% faster than the 9060 XT, and a huge 375% faster than the 2070 Super. Sticking to Linux and moving to ACC, this game absolutely flies on the RTX 5070. It clocked in at 154.7 frames per second on average at epic settings. That's 48% ahead of the 7800 XT and over double the performance of the 9060 XT, which itself is on par with the aging 2070 Super. The bottom line, this game loves NVIDIA GPUs. This is the largest non-ray traced win over the Radeon GPUs in this review. Remarkably, under Windows, the 5070 is slightly less dominant, but still strong, being 34% faster than the 7800 XT and 60% faster than the 9060 XT, which under Windows manages to outpace the 2070 Super. A key takeaway here is how similar the NVIDIA card's performance is between Linux and Windows in this particular title. Moving to Baldurs Gate 3 with the Vulkan API under Windows, the 5070 delivers 122 frames per second. That's 16% more than the 7800 XT, 45% more than the 9060 XT, and over double the performance of the 2070 Super. Moving to Linux under the Vulkan API and the Windows version of the game, the 5070 falls short of the 7800 XT, which has a minor 5% lead here. The 5070 is still quicker than the 9060 by 26%, and as we've seen before, doubles the performance of the 2070 Super. In Cyberpunk 2077 under Linux, the 5070 again falls short of the 7800 XT, which is 4% faster here. The 5070 still holds a sizable 25% lead over the 9060 XT and is about twice as fast as the 2070 Super. Under Windows, the tables have turned. The 5070 is now 14% faster than the 7800 XT, 42% faster than the 9060 XT, and 2.2 times faster than the 2070 Super. Turning on ray tracing is where things gets interesting. On Windows, the 5070 is now 42% ahead of both the 7800 XT and the 9060 XT, and delivers 2.1 times the performance of the 2070 Super. Over on Linux, performance takes a hit across the board, but the 5070 still clings to 60 frames per second, making it 48% faster than the 7800 XT and 9060 XT, and again over twice as quick as the 2070 Super. Doom Eternal is up next. Under Linux, the 5070 delivers 222 frames per second on average, which is 2% ahead of the 7800 XT, 28% ahead of the 9060 XT, and 70% ahead of the 2070 Super. So not quite double the performance, but still decent compared to the 2070 Super. Switching to Windows, performance is higher across the board, but the differences remain similar. The 5070 is still 2% ahead of the 7800 XT, 23% ahead of the 9060 XT, and now 99% ahead of the 2070 Super. Turning on the ray tracing invariably drops performance. On Windows, the 5070 is well ahead of the 7800 XT at 22%, slightly more compared to the 9060 XT at 27%, and over double the performance of the 2070 Super. Switching to Linux, performance drops, but NVIDIA seems to have more efficient ray tracing here. The 5070 now has a bigger 35% lead over the 7800 XT. It's 45% ahead of the 9060 XT and delivers almost 3 times the performance of the 2070 Super. This could indicate that the newer NVIDIA cards have better Linux support compared to the older one, or it could just be a VRAM issue. Moving to Oblivion Remastered on Linux, we see some issues. The 5070 is essentially delivering the same performance as the 7800 XT, but during benchmarking, it's clear it's unable to stretch its legs with utilization around 80 to 90%. The 2070 Super also shows pretty bad frame pacing, which could indicate Nvidia has some issues with this title under Linux. Nevertheless, a win is a win, I guess. Moving over to Windows shows what the 5070 is actually capable of, with 90.7 frames per second on average. That puts it 14% ahead of the 7800 XT, 53% ahead of the 9060 XT, and as usual delivers double the performance of the 2070 Super. In Farming Simulator 25 on Windows, the 5070 is 31% ahead of the 7800 XT, 54% ahead of the 9060 XT, and still delivers over twice the performance of the 2070 Super. Under Linux, we see an interesting flip. Performance on the Radeon cards improves, whereas performance on Nvidia drops. This makes the 5070 only 11% ahead of the 7800 XT and 39% ahead of the 9060 XT. At least it's still twice as quick as the 2070 Super. In Expeditions 33 on Linux, the 7800 XT is in the lead with 8% better performance and better frame times than the 5070. The 5070 is 9% faster than the 9060 XT and 66% ahead of the 2070 Super. Switching over to Windows, we see more or less identical performance from the 5070 and the 7800 XT, both being 41% faster than the 9060 XT and 68% ahead of the 2070 Super. Moving to Warhammer 40k, Space Marine 2 on Windows, the 5070 delivers 60.7 frames per second on average, which is more or less identical to the 7800 XT. That puts it 19% ahead of the 9060 XT and over 2 times the performance of the 2070 Super. Switching to Linux is where things fall apart for the 5070. Here the 7800 XT takes a 15% lead and the 5070 now falls below even the 9060 XT. AMD seems to retain more of its raster performance compared to Nvidia and the Linux here, which leads to this result. The final game is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on Linux. The 5070 is in the lead with 64 frames per second on average, which is 23% ahead of the 7800 XT, 60% ahead of the 9060 XT, and back to being twice as quick as the 2070 Super. Switching to Windows lowers performance for most cards apart from the 9060 XT. Here the 5070 is 15% ahead of the 7800 XT, 60% ahead of the 9060 XT, and again doubling the performance of the 2070 Super. Now, let's take a look at average performance. We are looking at Windows and Linux in the same graph for easy comparison. Across all benchmarks, the 5070 delivers 103.7 frames per second on average under Windows and 90.2 frames per second on average under Linux, making Windows 15% faster on average. Compared to the 7800 XT, the 5070 is 16% ahead on average under Windows and 12% ahead under Linux. We're averaging all the numbers here, but as we've seen, the performance gain with ray tracing is substantially larger. So if you play a lot of games with ray tracing, the 5070 is going to deliver much better performance compared to the 7800 XT. For your raster performance, however, it's not a massive upgrade in my opinion, especially considering you're giving up 4 gigs of VRAM. Compared to the 9060 XT, the 5070 is 38% quicker under Linux and 36% under Windows. So basically, if you are stuck on like an older GPU like a 2070 Super or a 2070 Super like GPU like an RX 6600 XT or an RTX 3060 or well, I suppose the 4060 is technically a bit faster, but any one of those, this would be a decent upgrade in my opinion. But if you have like a 7800 XT, I really wouldn't bother upgrading to this one or a 4070 or 4070 Super because, well, those perform more or less the same, right? I think so. Let's take a look at power draw during gaming. The 5070 seems okay here. It uses about the same amount of power as the RX 6800, but delivers around 50% more performance on average. It also uses 28% more power than the 9060 XT, but delivers 36% more performance, so efficiency is good for the 5070, making it a solid choice for an HD PC. I think this Ventus model is all the card you need really. Shelling out for models with higher clock speed and power limits, it's not going to give you comparatively higher performance. I care about the value for money and this MSRP model is the winner, but I'm also willing to spend a bit more for something fairly quiet. This card is the best of both worlds. It's not noisy and it performs like a 5070 should. I think at these lower prices the 5070 is worth it, and I'm not overly worried about the 12 gigs of VRAM. This will still run games with high quality settings for years to come, I think, even at 4K. I bought this for the HD PC, which is running Bassite, and in most cases I think the performance will be good enough for 4K with DLSS, so I'm quite happy with the purchase. And yeah, I will be looking forward to making more videos and doing more tests and stuff. Maybe I'll look into FSR 4 on the RDNA 2 cards or something, I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, have a good day. Goodbye.